Hello, how you guys out there doing? This is Black Titanic. Hello there, how y'all doing? Well, hope you've been enjoying June the 10th, Juneteenth celebration. It's still in June, y'all, so we still talking about our ancestors and what they went through in this country. Now, uh I don't know if you guys are all here. I don't know how to say the chats. I've been trying to say the chats. Hey, Kent, Kia. Hey, I see you. I'm seeing these. Anyhow, today we talking about love and marriage, Huntsville. Y'all know about Martell. Oh boy, that episode was so funny to me. But first, let's get to the books. I mailed some books out today, so y'all just be patient. I don't know what order I'm mailing them. I'm just going down the list and mailing. So you guys will get your books. So just be patient. I did mail some books off today. Thank you guys. Thank y'all for everything. Boy, thank all my subscribers, new and old. Thank you for the cash app. I just feel so grateful. I am so grateful to you guys. I am. Y'all make me feel happy. Y'all do. So anyhow, we're going to talk about love and marriage, Huntsville. Boy, that Martell tickled me. He tickled me. Y'all remember that Uncle of his? He was nice looking now. Let me tell y'all something. That uncle was nice looking. Look like the men's in Martell family are handsome, y'all. Now look, I'm old, but my eyeballs still can get happy. I still can see y'all. Martell uncle was looking good to this old lady. Woo! Anyway, we're gonna talk about. I hope y'all saw that the Olmec civilization. Now look, the reason I chose that particular video was because of the images. He was just so close to the images, but he was not a black man telling the story. He just got great images. I'm gonna get y'all. I'm gonna send it back through probably tomorrow with the black people telling the story about the Olmecs. But did y'all see that he tried to tell us that they weren't black? He threw that little Mexican man face up there. That caught me off guard. But if y'all saw the Olmec civilization, y'all know those are black people. They're gonna try to put all kinds of faces up there, close as they can to match that civilization face. But you know, we got that. They had them nose like mine, these big old lips, had dreadlocks. Still, they trying to claim that culture. But that goes to show you how a lot of people hijack our culture. Even the American Indians, they have hijacked our culture. They claim themselves as being original, but you know, we say our ancestors always come back to tell. The ancestor came back and said, "Oh no, we were the first one here." Every time they start digging and digging and digging, they be finding black people. Other people disappear. The more they dig, other people disappear. Go, you know, the farther on back, the BC, AC, whatever you want to call, millions of years, everybody else disappear. All they finding is black people. That's because we were the first one here. So anyhow, when y'all look at the Olmec civilization, they're going to be trying to tell y'all that they're not black people, but y'all can see for yourself. Anyway, let's get into the love and marriage Huntsville, girl. Now, everybody. Hello, Miss Black Titanic. It's an honor to be in your presence. Oh, bless you. Bless all of y'all. It's an honor to be in y'all presence too. But I'm finna get started now. We gonna start on the scene when Martell was getting ready to make his speech. Man, but before Martell, y'all saw what that boy had on. Lord have mercy, he had this big old fox fur on his shoulder. And that kind of remind me of that Coming to America scene. I don't know y'all ever seen that, but his name was Earl Jones. His name was Earl Jones. Earl Ray Jones. He wore that big old white suit and had a big old fox up here, fur or something. But anyway, that's what Martell remind me of. But anyhow, he gonna tell myself he get up on the stage. But remember now, y'all saw the introduction. Martell is looking at this woman's bosom. I mean, he was like cheese, and that's all he was doing, standing over that lady, looking at her bosom so hard. So that's why when he got up there to speak, that's all he was thinking about. That's why I said, this man can't even think because he too busy thinking about that woman bosom that he saw. Now y'all go back and watch that part. It's on the picture. I put the picture up there for y'all to see him looking down at that woman's bosom and cheesy. Yeah. He come up, Big Lou. Come on up here, Big Lou. Yeah, come on up here, Big Lou. Come on up here. That's what he's saying. Then he get to calling the rest of his homeboy. Yeah. They call the rest of his homeboys on up there too. Yeah, they come on. Then come, Big Lou, come on, Big Lou. So he said, I can't even get it out. He was thinking about them bosom that he seen. He was still thinking about them bosom that he seen. That's all he could think about, them, that woman bosom. I couldn't even get it out. Then his homeboy trying to encourage him, talking about, you got it, dog. You got it, dog. You got it, dog. I couldn't even get it out. Now y'all remember, he just cheesing. He like smiling, showing all them teeth, smiling, thinking about that bosom. So he still, I can't get it out. But when I saw him smile like that, I remember when I was that age and I had all my teeth, y'all. Oh, that's what I was thinking about when I saw myself. He was smiling, showing all them teeth. Then he made me thought about my martell too. When I was 19 years old, I met a martell like hoax too. All that nice smiling and looking good and buff body. Now, he gonna still talk myself, Big Lou, I can't even get it out. That's what he's saying. But meanwhile, Uncle Sam over there like, ooh, Uncle Sam was so pissed off over there. That's my mama Wan. That's my mama Wan, dog. You messing up my mama name, dog. You can't do no better than that. I can't even get it out. He couldn't get it out. Meanwhile, Uncle Sam over there pissed off at him. He was pissed off, so he come, then the homeboys, they over there, get it, dog, you can do it, dog. But Mr. Sam, he wasn't having it. So then one of his homeboys gonna say, well, I guess he can't do it the first time without his old lady. He gonna say the ex, you know how they go, about his ex. But y'all know I started reminiscing when I was that age. Yeah, I had a martell hoax too, y'all. Let me read to y'all out of my book, The Thug's Passion. Now, when I wrote this book, I was trying to heal. I never did think that I was going to have to pull it out no more. The book not edit or nothing. It just, write down all the changes I went through with my martell hoax. So let me tell y'all what I did. I'm finna read it to y'all. I'm finna set the stage now. I'm about 19 years old, y'all, right? And in our area, we all was dancers. So I was in the girls' dancing group. Then you had your boy dancing group, right? But I was always the backup dancer because I couldn't sing. So, all the singers would call me to dance. And plus I had my own group. But every time we would go in a dance contest, we would lose. We would get first place, and the boys was always beating us up, beating us out dancing. Y'all know how these boys, they be getting it, man. They got them boys crews. They'll come up on us, and they would win every time, and we would get first place now. I'm leading up to when I met my martell host, y'all. Just stick with me. So anyway, I decided I was gonna lead a group because I gonna learn how to dance like a boy. I am tired of losing these dance contests. So anyhow, I was just in the community, hang out with my brother, and then my brother them they had their own dance crew, so I learned how to dance like a boy. So anyhow, one night, y'all, they were giving away money. So I decided to enter the dance contest. And this is where I come in chapter 5. And this is called Illusion. Remember now, I'm in the club now. I'm finna meet my martell, y'all. This is chapter 5. It's called Illusion. Well, the nightclub included a live entertainment. See, back in the day, we had live bands. Yeah, we had the real horns and the real drums and the real piano, all that you dance to. We didn't have all this electronic fake stuff y'all children got today. But we had, so anyway, the nightclub included live entertainment as well as the dance contest. The dancer prize would be $500. Now, y'all know back in the 70s, $500 was a lot of money. I want to win that dance contest. Meanwhile, Cookie, that's my best friend, we cheered the male dancer on. Man, them guys' crews was coming up there. They danced. Some of them had their shirt off. They had them big old muscles like martell hooks. Oh, Lord. I was 19 years old, y'all. Now I'm just reminiscing. When I saw Martell in that little scenery, it made me think about my young days and when I had my teeth. Had my teeth then when I was 19 years old. Anyway, y'all, let me get back to the story. So anyway, we were looking at the male dancers with their buff body, but baby. Dancer number 5 came on the floor. Woo, Lord. He was chocolate. He had this beard. He had his beard real trim. Like y'all know Ice Cube, how Ice Cube keep his face all trim. That's how dancer number 5 was. Man, I was just weak to my flow. But baby, it was just the illusion. It was when I met my martell. Anyway, we got to dancing. And let me tell y'all something. I didn't even dance like no boy that night. I was trying to catch his eyes, girl. So I was dancing like a girl, all sexes and stuff. I didn't care if I won that dance contest. I was trying to get that man's eye. But let me tell y'all something. He won the dance contest. Yeah, he won it. And the entire night, I couldn't keep my eyes off of him. Yeah, I told my best friend, I wish I could know him. This chapter 5, it was called Illusion. It was just an illusion. All that buff body, all them good looks that these girls seeing with Martell, it's just an illusion. I'm mature now, I know that, but I end up going with him for about 4 or 5 years, but he was a womanizer, y'all. It was just an illusion. So that's all I'm saying about Martell. All these girls love them some Martell. They see that nice body and all of that. So they want him. But anyway, I'm going to play this for y'all. Play the Love and Marriage Huntsville. And then we're going to get on our lessons. But anyway, ladies, y'all be careful with these guys. Sometimes it just be illusion. They may look good, but they may not be good for y'all. I'm finna turn all the lights off, y'all. We're gonna get ready to watch this in Love and Marriage Huntsville, and then we're gonna go into the lesson. Oh boy. Come on, y'all. This is England that died aboard the Titanic. Yes, black people aboard the Titanic. After almost trying to teach you guys that black people was aboard the Titanic for years, we we had to come out of our graves. Me and my homeboys and homegirls, we had to come out of our graves to get your guys' attention that black people are aboard the Titanic. Hey, now, I the only one needs to know. So I got a few subscribers. You get 1,000 subscribers now. You guys can do it. When I think you got 98 subscribers.
Big Lou, I guess you guys come up to the front. Yeah, what we looking at Big Lou? Oh, Chris Fred, come on over here too. So, I can't get it out. You got it, it's on this.
I haven't seen martell like this before. I wonder if it's the wine, if it's the situation, the occasion. Maybe it's because this is the first time not doing it with his ex-partner. Ladies and gentlemen, Melodies.
Ladies and gentlemen, Melody.
I actually have a skincare product line that I'm launching this month. I'm very excited about that. I've been working on it for a while.
Ladies and Melody, the appreciation, the great addition of your unselfish time and service. So I named this one after my grandmother. Each one of us are business owners. And I would say, for real, I think that we've borne enough people, we've drank enough other people, we've eaten it, we drive
Other people.
Hey, listen, I think collectively, a lot of us are bosses in here, and I feel we got to continue to own it. So tonight really isn't about just honest wine. I think it's about us owning. So I'm just excited that I own. So toast to ownership. Hey, how was it?
Uncle ain't happy. Oh, yeah, that uncle pissed off, y'all. Okay, that's it for that. We're gonna move on along. That uncle was pissed off. Whoa. Okay, we're going to. This is we're still celebrating June the 10th, and today we're gonna honor Ramona, Africa. All right. Okay, I'm getting ready to show y'all a film. It's called The Day Police Dropped a Bomb in Philadelphia. May the 13th, 1985. The system in Philadelphia dropped bombs on the black citizens and burnt the house up, killed women and children died. And they were called the Move people. They were revolutionary people. They were called the Move people. And the meaning of move means that everything moves. Like the wind is always moving. Trees, when you see the wind on the trees is moving. Rain is moving. So they named themselves Move after nature. That's what they named. And they wanted to be left alone and live, closest to their African heritage as possible. But some reason, the government felt they were a threat. But anyway, here it is.
There's a small war underway on a street in Philadelphia tonight.
There was gunshots, thousands of rounds of bullets from...
Okay, that's Ramona, Africa. She was there, and it was she and a little boy. It's the only two survivors. So she's telling the story, and this is who we are honoring today for June the 10th, Ramona, Africa. The survivor, Ramona, Africa.
The police.
Police moved in with tear gas and water cannon.
They wanted to kill our children.
I had recommended to use an explosive entry device.
The house shook. Smoke was coming in. So we knew they dropped the bomb on us.
Police allowed the blaze to burn an hour and a half before calling in firefighters.
I don't care what they said. There was no justification for what they did.
They done burn up 2 blocks. Explain that.
I never imagined that the government would drop a bomb on a row house in Philadelphia.
It's an embarrassment to the city of Philadelphia.
My name is Ramona Africa, and I was there when the police dropped a bomb on me and my family May 13th of 1985 and killed 11 of my family members. I was there. I was born and raised in West Philadelphia. I went to Temple University and I was headed to law school. But after I met MOVE, I wanted to be a revolutionary. MOVE is a revolutionary organization founded by John Africa that believes in revolution, not in fighting and bloodshed, but true revolution. I joined MOVE in 1979. I was listening to what was happening with MOVE and could not believe that the cops were attacking MOVE the way they were.
Until today, there was a house in Philadelphia filled with people who for years confounded everybody. They called themselves MOVE and never said what that meant. They tried to live in the city as if it were the forest, ignoring modern plumbing, trash collection, or rat control. They offended the neighbors first and then the city, which ordered them out last year.
Y'all hear what he said? They offended the neighbor first. That's not true. No, the neighbors, all of us lived as one. I mean, they lived as one, but that's not true. The neighbors was not offended by them.
Today, the city went to move them.
As firemen crawled forward with a water hose, shots rang out.
The MOVE 9 were 9 of our sisters and brothers who were arrested unlawfully for the murder of a police officer and given a 30 to 100 year sentence.
Last December, 9 MOVE members went on trial for the death of Officer Ramp.
Everybody knew that MOVE did not kill a cop because MOVE was in the basement. Officer James Ramp was standing up on street level, and the media said he was shot on a downward angle. So there's no way that MOVE could have shot him.
They wear their hair in dreadlocks because they reject combs as symbols of industrialization, which their back-to-nature philosophy opposes. Their basic...
Did y'all check out what the news saying? They wear their hair in locks because they reject combing their hair and basic grooming. That's what that man said. Wow. Wow.
Goal is to overthrow the present system of government, which they consider to be corrupt.
People thought MOVE was crazy at that time because of the media.
They spew out obscenities when they talk.
Terrible language.
Rizzo said that he wanted MOVE out of Philadelphia.
It's amazing that this group has been running loose now for a half a dozen, couple, 3-4 years that I know of, and they should have been in prison many months ago.
We moved into Osage Avenue because that was our headquarters. It was warm and loving. There was children there. We would take them to the park. That was mainly our day. Some people said we was on the loudspeaker day and night, every day. That was just a lie, probably promulgated by the police along with the media. We were getting along with our neighbors and nothing was going on. That's why we were surprised and shocked when hundreds of cops invaded our area trying to throw MOVE out of our home. And this was on Sunday, Mother's Day.
There is a small war underway on a street in Philadelphia tonight. It has been going on all day between hundreds of Philadelphia police and a bizarre back-to-nature group called MOVE.
Nothing happened all day, but that night, Gregor Samboard, the police commissioner, got on a loudspeaker and said, "Attention, MOVE, this is America. You have 15 minutes to come out. Well, obviously we didn't come out because we knew they wanted to kill us. They didn't want to arrest us. They could have done that anytime.
It was shortly before 6 a.m. when police moved in with tear gas and water cannon to evict members of the extremist group MOVE.
When we were in the basement for a while, we didn't feel anything. And then the water started coming down on us. I mean, rushing down on us.
What we intended to do was to create a diversion on the roof of the MOVE compound.
It was hard to breathe. Our children were soaking wet. And then they started with the tear gas.
Tear gas started coming in. We got the blankets and they was wet and dirty.
Y'all see that little boy? When he got about 25 years old, he went on a cruise and they claim he drowned in a hot tub, y'all. So he's dead now, but it was suspect. His death was suspect anyway.
Then we brought his and started laying down.
They blew a hole in the house to the left of us to try to come through it to come after us.
What we wanted them to do was to come out of the front of 6221 Osage and surrender.
We tried to get out after that, tried to bring the kids out, and was shot back into the house.
A gun battle erupted.
They shot over 10,000 bullets. So that was their intent, to kill everybody in that house.
I don't think that they should kill the people and their babies. They should find another solution.
After that, that's when the silence was. It was a long interval of silence, and we didn't know what they were doing. We felt comfortable for a minute. And then the bomb was dropped. The house shook. It shook. And then we start feeling the heat and the smoke, which we knew wasn't tear gas. We knew there was a fire in the house. We heard the crackling of the trees that was in back of Osage.
The night skies over West Philadelphia, bright with flames. As many as 60 buildings may be on fire.
I was told, and I saw newspaper issues about people yelling to the firefighters to put the fire out. Why wasn't they putting the fire out?
They dropped the bomb on the house to take care of one MOVE family. One MOVE out, they done burn up 2 blocks. Explain that.
It was all in the newspaper that Sanborn told the fire commissioner to let the fire burn.
Oh yeah, before I forget, y'all, they had a black mayor. His name was Wilson Good. That's his name. He signed the contract and told him to go do it. Boy, I'm telling you, sometimes our black people might look like us, but they're not one of us. Because he told them to go get rid of those people. A black mayor named Wilson Good signed the papers to go bomb his own people out.
The fire burned for an hour and a half before police called in firefighters. Tonight, it is unknown exactly how many MOVE members may have escaped the blaze, or how many, perhaps, were trapped inside.
We all decided we was coming out, and we were bringing the children out of the house and hollering to the police, we're coming out, we're bringing the children out. And their response was gunshots. Bertie was right behind me. So when I decided to come out, I grabbed him. And that's how we both got out of that house, that blazing inferno. Police grabbed me and arrested me and put handcuffs on my arms, even though I was burnt. And they grabbed Bertie and put him in a police van and took him away. I never saw him again. In the hospital, I was looking for the rest of my family to come in, and nobody came in.
They all dead. They dead.
And that's when I knew some of my family at least were dead.
Philadelphia police this morning continue searching for more bodies in the burned rubble of a West Philadelphia neighborhood.
Look, y'all, burnt them children alive. Every time they try to come out, they'll shoot at them. The children, they wouldn't even let them come out. That's just how low down they were. She said over 10,000 bullets was shot at them. What number of children left? So they burnt up alive, y'all. The kids did.
One by one, more bodies of MOVE members were found in the rubble of their fortress home. The toll now higher than most had expected.
5 children and 6 adults. Nobody was ever arrested for the murder of my family. Nobody went to jail but me. I was arrested. I was the only one put on trial for arson, conspiracy, everything that they did, they charged me with. The jury found me guilty. I was sentenced to 16 months to 7 years. So I did the whole 7 years. I haven't been back to Osage Avenue since May 13th of 85. It was 61 or so houses burnt. It was damaged to the core. The people that lived on there took a while to come back, because some of them never came back.
City taxpayers spent $33 million to rebuild the houses.
The homes that was rebuilt, they had sinking foundations, they got leaking roofs, the electricity was messed up. They look like project houses. Today, I still have the burn scars from May 13th of 85. And some people have told me you should get cosmetic surgery. They can take that off. And I'm saying, why would I want to take it off? I want to be reminded. Our significance today is the consistent example of MOVE. Keep fighting, no matter what. Because people can look at MOVE and say, I don't want to be in jail for 30 or 40 years. I don't want to die. I don't want to have a bomb dropped on me. But the thing is, you can die any day of the week in this country being killed by police. People ought to take the lesson from MOVE and stand up for what is right. As long as we can fight, we're going to fight.
Okay, that was in honor of Juneteenth. We're still celebrating. I want to celebrate this wonderful lady. Her name is Romana Africa. She's still alive. She's the only one left that's alive. And y'all remember the other day we celebrated Tupac Mama, Afeni Shakur. These are people, your ancestors that are fighting. Okay, we're going to move it along. Y'all remember we did the Olmec civilization. I just want to do a little brief of them. What this is going to show you is just the type of life that they live in the Olmec civilization. Just, yeah, right here.
In 1939, Matthew Sterling had just arrived in Veracruz, Mexico for a new season of excavations at the site of Tres Zapotes. Sterling was searching for answers about a relatively recently identified civilization in Mexico, the Olmec. Tres Zapotes had already been identified as an Olmec site, but at the time, not much was known about Olmec civilization. There was only a delicate consensus about who the Olmec were.
Now remember these Olmec people, they were all over. They traveled a lot. They traveled all up and down the Atlantic Ocean. And they were businessmen. So That's why you see a lot of their heads and a lot of their artifacts is all up and down the coast. So don't let them tell y'all that they were Mexicans. They're going to try to fool y'all that they were Mexicans. But in fact, Black people was the first all over the earth. We were the first people.
Most scholars assume that this civilization was a fairly recent player in Mesoamerican history, and that they would have been contemporary with the classical Maya in the second half of the first millennium CE. It wasn't an unreasonable conclusion at the time. Remember, this was before carbon dating was being used in archaeology, and back then the best way to date Mesoamerican civilizations was by stratigraphy, or even better, by cataloging the dates on their monument inscriptions. Sterling, however, suspected that this civilization was much older. Unfortunately for Sterling, he had no hard proof to back up his theories. That is until one day when he chanced upon an incredible discovery, a broken Olmec stela with a partial date inscription. Although the second half of the date inscription was missing, he and his wife Marion deduced that the date on the stela was September 3rd, 32 BCE. By far the oldest written date ever recorded in Mesoamerica. When this was published, it was hailed as a great... Oh wait, actually, no. It was immediately derided by their colleagues as the incredulous result of over-enthusiastic speculation. Everyone insisted that the Olmec civilization could not have been that old. Bummer. But not for long. As luck would have it, the Sterlings would be vindicated in the ensuing decades by carbon dating and later by the discovery of the rest of the stela by a local farmer, which allowed archaeologists to verify the Sterlings' proposed date. They had been right all along. This discovery stunned the academic world. It proved the true antiquity of the Olmec and showed that they were the first major civilization in Mesoamerica. Last episode, we examined the Norte Chico, one of the first civilizations of the Americas. In it, we discussed how the Peruvian coast was a cradle of American civilization and how those pre-ceramic civilizations laid important foundations for later Andean cultures. But Peru was not the only cradle in the Americas. In Mesoamerica, there was another one on the Mexican coast. So just like we did in our last episode, let's examine the origins of Mesoamerican civilization by exploring its first great civilization, the Olmec. Many aspects of Mesoamerican culture, such as calendars, ball games, and the Mesoamerican pantheon, can be traced back to Olmec influences. And these influences were tremendous. Before we can discuss the Maya, the Zapotec, the Toltecs, and the Aztecs, we need to examine the Olmec and their contributions to Mesoamerican civilization. Unfortunately, the Olmec left us no discernible written histories, nor any oral traditions. All that is known about the Olmec comes to us from archaeology or from the study of subsequent cultures. As much as we know about the Olmec, we are clueless about some basic facts, like the language they spoke or what they called themselves. In fact, the name Olmec comes from the word Olmen, a Nahuatl word meaning rubber people. Rubber was produced by the region's inhabitants as far back as Olmec times, all the way until European contact, hence the name. Just keep in mind that Olmec is the name retroactively applied to them by modern scholars. It's not a name that they would have used themselves. Before Olmec civilization arose, the people of Mesoamerica had only recently begun living a sedentary lifestyle. What made this shift possible was the domestication of crops like gourds, squash, beans, avocados, and chilies, but above all, corn, or as we ought to refer to it, maize. Maize was first domesticated in Mexico between 7000 BCE and 6500 BCE, and it would change everything as it was cultivated more and more intensively. So important was maize to the Mesoamericans that most cultures had a maize deity in some form. On an interesting side note, maize was originally domesticated from the teosinte plant. It's a testament to their agricultural prowess that this tiny grass was fashioned into one of the most important staple crops in the world. I mean, just look how tiny those cobs are. If you aren't very impressed by maize, I'd also like to point out that the Olmec were the first civilization to have chocolate. So let's take a moment to thank the Olmecs for helping bestow chocolate on this cruel world, and then let's get back to our topic. By the beginning of the second millennium BCE, civilization was beginning to take shape. What's fascinating about the development of Mesoamerican civilization is that it occurred very late compared to other early civilizations. But when it did, it blossomed with astonishing speed. Archaeologist Brian Fagan sums this up excellently.
A vast chasm separates the thousands of farming villages scattered throughout Central America in 2000 BC and the sophisticated civilizations that arose with dramatic suddenness only 1,500 years later.
Nothing epitomizes that drastic change better than the rise of the Olmec. For over 1,000 years, from 1700 BCE to the end of the first millennium BCE, the Olmec were a cultural juggernaut in Mesoamerica. Despite being largely confined to the Mexican Gulf Coast in the modern states of Veracruz and Tabasco, the Olmec exercised an oversized influence over Central America. Unlike their contemporaries, the Olmec were living in large, planned urban settlements with elite residences, workshops, and rich, elaborate tombs. The best known of these sites is the city of La Venta, which thrived from 900 BCE to 400 BCE. La Venta has a planned layout with many temple mounds surrounding a main plaza. The main feature of the site is its Great Pyramid. It's been badly eroded in the millennia since its construction, but surveys and excavations show that it was a large...
I was going to say about these pyramids, they all over America, but you never hear about them. My daughter sent me a picture from the Grand Canyon, and it's just full of pyramids. Our ancestors been here. They talk about the pyramids in Egypt, but they don't ever talk about the pyramids that our ancestors built here. And that's because they don't want us to know that we were the first ones here in America.
Rectangular pyramid with stepped sides, much like later pyramids in Mesoamerica. These are all features that we're going to see later in Mesoamerican cities. This wasn't just a city of corn farmers, although there were a lot of those. It was an economic and cultural hub, home to merchants, artists, sculptors, priests, and a ruling elite. La Venta is not an isolated example. Other Olmec cities have their own monuments. The fact that the Olmec elite could commission such huge public works speaks to the sophistication of Olmec society. But what exactly were they commissioning? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's take a look at Olmec art to find out. Nothing highlights the Olmec better than their distinctive and recognizable art. Their most iconic and well-known works are by far their colossal heads. Even if you've never studied the Olmec, you've probably seen pictures of them in a textbook or on...
So like I said, they got on these military hats, helmets, so they were warriors. These are examples of warriors. Now, when you turn the head around, they got either you're going to say they're dreadlocks or they're braids. Now, y'all know these is black people. I don't know why they trying to say that it's another race, they Mexicans, because they are not Mexicans at all. These are black people, y'all. Now, the other cultures going to try to hijack your history. That's what they trying to do, like they always do. They're trying to say that they were the first people here, but no, our ancestor was the first people here.
TV. These heads are gigantic. Each one is carved from a huge block of basalt. The nearest source of this is all the way in the Tuxtla Mountains, which means that they had to not only be carved, but moved huge distances. Remember, there are no draft animals in Mesoamerica. You can't just strap some oxen and mules to those boulders and tell them to move. They could only be moved by human labor. The organization and effort to move these from quarries to the cities and ceremonial centers must have been enormous.
So y'all, archaeologists is just amazed. They still can't figure out how our ancestors moved these big colossals' head, because they weigh tons and tons and tons. So that's what they're amazed at. They still trying to figure out, how did our ancestors, what did they build? What mode of transportation did they use to carry these heads?
As far as we know, they could have been dragged overland or perhaps transported on balsa rafts via the local rivers, but no one is certain. But what are these sculptures exactly? Most scholars agree that these heads represent Olmec rulers, as each one is distinct and no two portray the same person. Each head has a helmet or headgear. The heads are very recognizable for their realism and their broad facial features, like their flat noses and full lips. These striking features have actually caused some to theorize that the heads are sculptures of Africans, but these theories are rejected by Mesoamerican scholars, and I'll have more to say about these views later. In total, there are several heads that have been discovered at various Olmec sites. These range in size from just under 5 feet to 11 feet tall. The largest head is over 25 tons. To put that in perspective, that's more than the weight of 2 school buses. One interesting thing I discovered while making this episode is that there are actually several replica Olmec heads across the United States. If you ever pay a visit to the Field Museum in Chicago, City College of San Francisco, Lehman College at the City of New York, the Smithsonian, or the University of Texas in Austin, you can see one of these replicas. Pretty cool. As impressive as the Olmec heads are, they were not the only colossal sculpture crafted by the Olmec. They also carved massive stone altars, each from a single block of basalt weighing over 40 tons. Actually, the term altar is a bit of a misnomer. When these were first excavated, they were believed to be altars, but experts are pretty certain that these huge blocks were actually thrones for rulers. The reason for this is that there's actually images and sculptures of rulers sitting on these altars. Each throne contains a niche with a man sitting in a cave, either holding a baby with jaguar features or a rope, sometimes both. In many later Mesoamerican cultures, caves are an entrance to the supernatural world, so this imagery is very evocative. Remember this, because caves are going to come up later in the episode. As these monuments show, the Olmec were masters at shaping stone, and these monuments are only the tip of the iceberg. One of the finest examples of Olmec sculpture is the wrestler. This seated figure is portrayed in a realistic and dynamic way that is seldom seen in Mesoamerica. Another important piece comes from a burial in La Venta. This group of small jade figurines were found posed around a central figure in a very striking scene. No one is certain what this is depicting, but it definitely fires up the imagination. Is this a scene from Olmec mythology, a ruler's court, or a scene from the deceased's life? We don't know, but it is pretty cool to think about. Olmec art is one of the best tools we have in reconstructing their religion and their beliefs.
Okay, that's the Olmec tribe. You guys, y'all follow up on it and study about your ancestors. Next, we're going to do a little politics. Y'all know, I keep telling y'all that we want reparations. So let's just see what is they doing. They're signing reparations for everybody except for us. But I'm just going to do this for example to y'all so y'all can see that Joe Biden can give us reparation if he wants to. He's giving reparation to everybody else. So let's just see which one I want. This one right here. This says Kamala Harris announces $1.9 billion to Migrant Fund for Central America. So we voted for them. 99% Black people voted for them. They're giving everybody reparation except for us. This is TD Hip Hop. Y'all check him out. Check this young man out when you want.
Today, I just wanted to take a real quick moment to point out a few things concerning Kamala Harris's announcement of the $1.9 billion migrant fund that she put together. So what I want to do is start with this article right here from WION News.
Oh, I just want to say that everything is for educational and entertainment purposes and fair use.
Was titled, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris announces $3.2 billion migrant fund for Central American countries, and then we'll move over to this New York Post article titled, Harris announces $1.9 billion more for Central America as caravan heads for border. U.S. President Kamala Harris announced on Tuesday a fresh $1.9 billion in private sector funding aimed at boosting jobs in hopes of reducing migration from Central America. The announcement was made at the Latin American Summit in Los Angeles. Tackling root causes of rising migration to the U.S. has become top priority for U.S. President Joe Biden, and the task has been handed to Harris. At Latin America Summit in Los Angeles, Harris's unveiling of $1.9 billion in business commitments comes a day before President Biden is due to be present. The fresh funding is in addition to the $1.2 billion announced last year. Now, here's the important part. The funding is aimed at creating economic opportunities in the impoverished so-called Northern Triangle of El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. A White House statement said that the investments aim to provide hope for people in the region to build safe and prosperous lives at home. So Biden and Harris has the money to invest in root causes to issues that plague Central America, but they don't have the money to address root causes to issues that plague the Black community. And not only does Biden not have the money, but apparently it's unconstitutional as well, because you just can't focus on Black people. You just can't focus on the Black community, you know.
I just want to give him a shout out. This is TD Hip Hop, y'all. TD Hip Hop Media. Y'all go check this young man out. If some of y'all don't like to read, he already well read and study. All you got to do is tap in TD Hip Hop Media to get your politics.
That's unconstitutional. And I can see it already in the comment section now. Yeah, but. It's funny how there's always an excuse for why Biden and Harris can shell out legislation and cash for every other group and or country. But when it comes to the Black community, here comes the excuses. Here comes the yeah buts. Yeah, but what you don't understand is that this money isn't coming from the U.S. federal budget. It's coming from private corporations in connection to the U.S. government. That's what you're not understanding. Okay, well, let's look into that a little bit. Vike?
Trillions in D.C. liberal spending sent inflation through the roof. Senator Raphael Warnock voted.
President Harris emerged from a long period of silence on the border crisis Tuesday to announce the private sector would throw nearly $2 billion more at Central America, even as thousands of migrants from the region make their way towards the U.S.-Mexico frontier. The White House framed the $1.9 billion investment plan as the latest attempt to tackle what it calls root causes of mass economic migration to the U.S. I find that wording very interesting, by the way. Root causes of mass economic migration? What is mass economic migration? This sounds like language that's going to be used as an excuse to continuously throw billions of dollars at Central America to tackle, quote, root causes of mass economic migration. Let's keep that term in mind and see if that continues to pop up when we read about issues surrounding immigration. Let's please keep that in mind. Mass economic migration. That's very interesting wording. Now let's carry on. Initiatives include a $700 million expansion of cellular networks in Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador by Miami-based Millicom, a $270 million commitment by Visa to promote digital payments, and a $110 million investment by auto parts supplier Yazaki to hire more than 14,000 employees in Guatemala and El Salvador by the end of 2026. Now, what I want everybody to pay attention to is how Biden and Harris can do whatever it is they want if they really want to. Understand, these companies didn't reach out to the U.S. government out of the goodness of their own heart to help out with the immigration issue. No, Biden and Harris contacted them and said, hey, we have a proposition for you. Here's what we're trying to do. This is what we need from you. And here's what you'll get out of the deal in return. Biden and Harris completely bypassed the entire legislative process. No studies were needed, no votes were needed, and whatever the American people felt about it, who cares, because we're doing it anyways. You see how that works? But when you start talking about reparations for the descendants of American slavery, when you start talking about closing the racial wealth gap, when you start talking about an anti-Black hate crime bill, when you start talking about any type of legislation that would specifically help the Black community, all of a sudden, we don't have the money. We don't have the votes in the Senate. Oh, the Republicans. Oh, it's Mitch McConnell. And oh yeah, it's unconstitutional anyways. You see, when it comes to issues plaguing the Black community, the Democrats don't do anything because they can't do it. It's because they don't want to. Their votes depend upon your pain and the hope of one day alleviating you from it. I repeat, their votes depend upon your pain and the hopes of one day alleviating you from it. It's kind of like a person riding a horse while dangling a carrot in front of it so the horse can move. The Democrats are the person and the Black community is the horse, chasing a carrot that it'll never catch. At least, not until you knock the person off your back that's riding you. But until then, you're just perpetually voting Democrat election after election after election while nothing changes. And as a matter of fact, things are actually getting worse for the Black community. So the question is, are you going to keep letting the Democrats ride you while dangling a carrot in front of your face? Or are you going to finally knock them off your backs this midterm and in 2024? I want to be very clear right now, okay? Let the Democrats lose. Let them lose and stop letting them scare you with the big bad boogeyman Republican. Well, we just can't let the Republicans win because if they do, they're going to throw us back in chains. No, they're not. No one's throwing you back in chains. No one's bringing back Jim Crow.
Okay, I'm getting ready to turn the lights back on, y'all.
Sometimes Republicans win and sometimes the Democrats win. And regardless of who wins, your life doesn't change at all, and you know it. So if the Democrats are who they say they are, then make them prove it and let them lose so that they can see you're not playing around. Or you can keep chasing the carrot. So with all that being said, that does it for today's video. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button, fold the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. Also,
okay, y'all, how y'all doing? Hope y'all enjoy your little lesson today.
That's TD Hip Hop number 33222.
Yeah, I find that quite interesting that we as Black people have supported Democrats. And when it comes to us, they don't give us anything. We got to start voting smart, y'all. It's time out to just go down and just vote Democrat just because your ancestors was Democrat or your mama was Democrat. You got to vote for who is going to do for you. I'm not trying to tell nobody how to vote because I haven't voted in a while. But whenever I vote, I want it to be strategic, y'all. Anyway, I enjoyed y'all. I just thank y'all so much, y'all. Y'all so sweet. All of y'all are. So I'm gonna see. I want to say this, y'all. Oh Lord, I'm reading up on how to save these chats because when I hang up, I don't see them no more. So I'm trying to learn how to save the chats, y'all. Anyway, that's all I got for y'all today. And I'm going to hang around a little bit and read this before I hang up because I might not even see it no more, y'all. Good evening, Miss Lady, Grand Lady. Oh, no. Oh, Lord. Y'all say she leaving and coleslaw coming on next season. Oh, God, don't get me talk about coleslaw. Well, anyway, y'all. I'm finna go and that martell was something else on this show. He sure did make that uncle mad, man. That uncle was not proud of martell. Man, we already know that Melody was the one covering him. You know, I never thought that man was so dumb. You never would have known. That woman sure loved that man because she covered him. She even must have dressed him too. Because when Martell was with Melody, Martell really, his outfits was at least decent. You know, seemed like she done dressed him. He don't know how to dress since he not with her neither. Lord have mercy. And you know, he always felt better around coleslaw because she made him felt smart. Now we can see why he felt smart around coleslaw. He said it. He just felt smart around her. Oh boy. Anyway, bye-bye, y'all. Thanks a lot. Thank y'all for everything. Thank you for the cash app. Y'all make sure y'all share my videos. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Good night.